Welcome to Horror Bois. It's a podcast on the internet. I'm Austin, joined as always by
Chris.
And we are the Horror Bois. And this isn't any old This isn't any old podcast. This is a horror movie review pod. That was right. It just sounded wrong in my head, so I screwed it up. Oh, jeez, guys. It's been a long day. We're filming this right after we streamed. Not something we normally do. So, yeah. It's a horror movie review podcast where we review a horror
Deal with it.
Yeah, so we're reviewing a horror movie. We're on the 5th installment of the Final Destination franchise. Final Destination 5.
The final
Well, no.
Destination
That was the last movie.
for now.
Yeah, the last movie was called The Final Destination.
Well, this is the final Destination movie.
And
now.
Also, Chris, I'm
Until
not saying
this
anything,
comes
but
out.
don't say anything about the movie until we get to it.
Huh?
Think about this movie.
Oh!
Don't say anything until we get to it.
Yeah.
Okay. This movie was directed by Stephen Quayle, who was the second unit director on Titanic, Avatar, and Haunted Mansion alongside Horror Bois alum Jennifer Tilly.
Oh.
The writer was Eric Heiserer of The Thing 2011, Arrival, Bird Box, and is an HBA for Nightmare on Elm Street 2010.
Oh.
We won't hold that against him.
Oh, yeah.
The composer is the returning from the last film, Brian Tyler. Our director of photography is Brian Pearson of Urban Legends Final Cut, American Mary, Insidious Chapter 3, and My Bloody Valentine 09, alongside Horror Bois alums Todd Farmer of Jason X and Final Destination alum Kerr Smith of the original Final Destination.
Oh.
Our production... Yeah?
Yeah.
Our production designer was David Sandifer. Our special makeup effects designer was the returning from Final Destination 3, Toby Lindala. Our special effects coordinator, also returning from Final Destination 3, was Roy Cutler. Our stunt coordinator... Can you guess, Chris?
No.
Returning from Final Destination 1 and 3, JJ Macaro. And then our digital visual effects and 3D animation was done by Prime Focus, Cosa VFX, maybe that's what it's, I don't know, Gentle Giant Studios, Photochem, Prologue Films, and the returning from Final Destination 3, Soho VFX, which was only like 6 compared to the last movie, which had 9.
No KMB this time?
No, that they don't do visual effects anyway, but they would have been the special makeup effects person, which was Toby Lindala. No can be this time. We open with our title card and credits as things that killed people previously in the franchise fly in and break the glass they're on. It's a cool little special, like a cool little credits sequence. Oh, you don't like it?
No.
Oh. Okay.
It's like a less good version of what they did with the last credits.
I guess. Yeah, that's fair. I just thought it was but they already did that. So they were trying to do something a little different. So it was, breaking glass. Ooh, I enjoyed it. It's not like I would have sat through it more than like once, but like it was fine. It's a credit scene. It doesn't have to be good. Let's be real.
I guess that's fair.
I respect that it wasn't I think it was Friday the 13th where it was just white text on black. I think it was that one.
Yeah.
I think it was that series that like did that for like 5 movies straight.
I think that's what every credit scene should be.
We then transition to Peter telling Sam he overdid it on the breakfast he prepared for the send-off of the corporate retreat. Peter is played by Miles Fisher. Sam is played by Nicholas D'Augusto of Gotham, Criminal Minds, and Heroes alongside Horror Bois alums Kristen Bell and Hayden Panettiere of Scriform, and Final Destination alum Ali Larder of Final Destination 1 and 2. Peter tells Sam he needs to decide if he wants to be a chef or a sales guy. That's basically that scene. Molly then arrives.
Also, like, what kind of question is that? Why would you not want to be a chef?
Yeah. It's fair. Molly arrives, so Sam goes to talk to her. Molly is played by Emma Bell of The Walking Dead, Frozen, the thriller, not the Disney movie, by Horror Boy writer and director Adam Green of the Hatchet franchise. And speaking of the Hatchet franchise, Emma is technically a Horror Boy alum for her uncredited role reprising her character from Frozen in Hatchet 2. They were like on like a news broadcast where she like replayed her character for like real quick cutaway joke. Not joke, but cutaway like, hey, remember I made this movie? So yeah, technically she is a Horror Boy alum. Sam asks Molly why she canceled her plane ticket for his brother's wedding. And she tells him that they're not working out. Aww.
They should hit the gym.
Yeah. You know, Chris, do you want to start the podcast over? Because these jokes they're not landing for me.
Oh, no. Keep it going.
Oh, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. We cut to Peter, who is joined by his intern/girlfriend Candace, who he tells they have to pretend to not be in a relationship this weekend because she's an intern and he's, her boss.
Yeah. And then they make out.
Yeah, you understand. Candace is played by Ellen Rowe of Animal Kingdom and For All Mankind, alongside Horror Boy alum and Final Destination alum Chantel Van Santen of The Final Destination, which is the fourth one if you're new to the franchise and you're confused because you thought that would be the name of the first movie.
Right, yeah, no.
Olivia is then dropped off by her rocker one-night stand / maybe boyfriend. We don't know for sure, but it definitely is implied in other dialogue that he's probably more of a one-night stand. Who gives her glasses, because that's one of her character traits, is having glasses. Olivia is played by Jacqueline McInnes Wood of Bold and the Beautiful, alongside Horror Boy alum Krista Allen of The Final Destination. And, on Brave and the Bold, the girl, Jacqueline here, has been in, and I believe counting, 2,165 episodes. Dude, soap operas are crazy, man.
Yeah.
So, the rocker is played by Tim Fellingham. Candace basically calls Olivia a loose-moraled woman with baby fat, and Olivia responds by taking her top off, exclaiming it's not fat, just her boobs.
Yeah.
Alright, that's the end of that scene. Well, that portion of the scene. Technically, this is all like one scene, but...
Right.
We then head to Molly having an interaction with the super cringy Isaac. Molly is saved when Isaac gets a phone call from Gusfit. Wait, it's Kimber from last Tuesday? Or maybe a different Kimber. Isaac...
He is a scumbag.
And, must be, really good at playing harmonica or something, because he is kind of a derpy-looking guy, but is, yes, creepily, but talking to a lot of girls. Which is kind of like, wait, what? This guy's a player who gets multiple chicks?
It's true.
Isaac is played by P.J. Byrne of The Wolf of Wall Street and The Boys, alongside Horror Boy alums Jack Quaid of Scream 5 and Final Destination alum Chantel Van Santen. We'll bring her up again. I already said that. Peter gives Sam the advice that he should apologize to Molly when their boss Dennis drives up. Dennis is played by David Koechner of The Office, Barnyard, Anchorman 1 and 2, and Snakes on a Plane, alongside Horror Boy alums Lynn Shay of Nightmare on Elm Street and New Nightmare, and Final Destination alums Crystal Lowe of Final Destination 3, production designer James Hinkle of The Final Destination, and director the late David R. Ellis of Final Destination 2 and The Final Destination.
Good golly.
Yeah, Snakes on the Plane's slowly becoming our next She's All That.
It seems that way.
And then there's also like Cursed, but at least Cursed is a horror movie, so it makes sense that it's so stacked with Horror Boy alums. It's kind of crazy how many like people who we've covered are in She's All That of all movies.
Yeah.
And there will be more.
Not including Amanda Bynes, though.
Yeah, no. But the main character, like the secondary, like the main male lead of that movie will be a Horror Boy alum later this year. So, or maybe it's next year. I don't remember when we're covering. I know what you did last summer. But yeah, moving on. Dennis doesn't want to waste time and is upset that one of the passengers, Nathan, isn't there yet. Sam goes to the factory to find Nathan. Roy, who's been there for over 14 years and is the union rep, isn't happy that Nathan is getting time off for this retreat because, he's young and how dare he. And probably some internalized racism that they don't officially say, and that they never even go there, but, Roy gives off those vibes that he probably also hates Nathan for being black. It just gives off those vibes, Like, he doesn't say it, but I feel it, Maybe it's just me. Roy is aggressive, but it is broken up by John before anything can happen. Nathan is played by Arlen Escarpita, who is a Horror Boy alum for his role in the underrated Friday the 13th, 2009. Roy is played by Brent State of Smallville, Tron Legacy, and The Omen 4. Excuse me. John is played by Roman Podhora of Resident Evil 2, alongside Horror Boy alum Zach Ward of Freddy vs. Jason. Oh, and Roman Podhora is also a Horror Boy alum himself for Jason X. On their way to the bus, we find out that Sam was offered to go to the on their way to the bus. We find out that Sam was offered to go to the flagship restaurant in Paris of the restaurant he's been working at, but with no timetable of how long he'll be there. And Sam doesn't want to leave everything behind, but now that Molly broke up with him, he doesn't know. Yeah, that's the scene.
Yeah.
They get to the bus, but Nathan very dramatically looks at the words, "Watch your step" on the stairs before getting on.
And then he falls. No,
he just looks at it.
That would have been funny, though, if he did.
The bus passes a sign that warns of construction on the upcoming bridge, but on the sign, there's like a part of the bridge that looks broken.
Oh.
I wonder if that could be an omen. 4.
Probably not.
Starring whoever was in Omen 4.
Yeah,
I forgot already. I think it was Roy's actor. But yeah. On the bus, a video is played for 180 corporate consulting. Chris, you gotta pretend to be shocked when you see the number 180. Chris, I know it's late, Chris, but give me some fake energy. Gosh darn it.
Flight 180.
Yeah. Scary. That's a callback to a different movie.
Yeah.
We find out that Candace is a gymnast who twirls rubber bands on her wrist for good luck. Will that be important later? I mean, kind of, for like a scene.
Yeah.
Isaac gets a phone call from Ghostface.
No, it's not.
Wait, it's Kimber. Wait, no, it's Katrina?
Kendra? Yeah, that's somebody.
It's Chris's mom.
No, that's not my mom.
Well,
He's not in this movie.
No, you're right. She wasn't. Not after Final Destination 3. She could never like the franchise after that. It's too scary.
Yeah.
He takes the call to the bus's bathroom for some more privacy. Sam looks out the window and sees a logging truck.
And then the second movie happens.
Yeah. The bus starts to cross the under construction bridge. Sam looks dramatically at different parts of the bridge's structure and construction process. Then wind, unconfirmed if deaths or not, blow a water cooler through a hole in the bridge to the water below.
Yeah.
The bus then stops.
That's all that happens.
Yeah. The bus stops at a construction worker's stop sign. And Sam cuts his thumb on a piece of metal in the chair in front of him. Pum, pum, pum. Then the TVs glitch, as well as the radio, which starts playing Dust in the Wind by Kansas. And that's very scary because it's a song by Kansas.
Oh, I don't think that's why it's scary.
You sure?
Pretty sure.
It's really scary because it's not Wayward Sons by Kansas.
Oh, true.
Okay.
Yeah, that song goes hard.
Yeah, it does. We then see a sailboat making its way toward the bridge. I wonder if that could be important later. Wind, probably deaths, starts blowing all crazy. Sam tells Peter something's wrong. We see a construction worker who's sawing through part of the bridge, which feels like something you wouldn't do while anyone's on the bridge. Whatever. No, he does it. And then it cracks behind where he's doing it. It starts to form and spread. Ah, no. Then the suspension wires start breaking, and a giant hole forms from the crumbling bridge in front of them. Everyone rushes off the bus and runs away from the hole. When the ground collapses under her, Candace ends up falling and being impaled by the sailboat as her guts and the pole are right at the camera. Whoa!
Yeah, because we're still doing 3D for some reason.
It is still 3D, but it's not nearly as egregious.
Yeah, it's not as aggressive as it was in the last movie.
And like a lot of times, like the effects will still look at least somewhat better. Like I think this was like practical, like guts at least, not just complete CGI here and stuff. Like they made it a little better. I'll give them credit for that for sure. Like they definitely, I didn't hate every effect I saw in this movie.
That's fair.
But yeah, next, Isaac, still in the bus, falls with the bus to the water below as the road continues to collapse. So he's dead now. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Olivia falls down, losing her glasses. And she says, "Jinkies." Wait, no.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't, sorry.
And then Scooby jumps out of the bus and eats a Scooby snack.
The road collapses in front of Sam and Molly, so Molly crosses over a support beam to the other side. Sam then helps Olivia to the beam, but the shaking of the breaking bridge causes her to fall in the water below. And she's fine.
Yeah.
She's alright. But then, a car falls off, hitting her in the water!
Yeah. And then she's not fine.
Yeah,
probably.
now she's dead. Next, Nathan is taken out by a swinging suspension wire. He's dead. Then the bridge continues to clap, and Dennis is left barely holding on when he's covered by molten tar, leaving him a melting mess before he falls.
And there's a really cool effect where his skin on his hand like tears.
Yeah, it looks really cool, honestly. Like, this whole
gets left behind.
Once again, I'll give this movie credit. You know, this movie definitely has better effects than the last movie. Like, at least, or they let you see them a little better. Because, like I said, the last movie did have some better effects, but they just covered completely with CGI for no reason.
Hey, get all those gross practical effects out of here.
Yeah.
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 They shouldn't do that.
Peter and Sam both leap to a railing that's hanging onto the safe part of the bridge Molly is at. The rest of the middle of the bridge collapses and falls in the water. In a really cool shot, like where we watch it all fall. It's cool looking. A truck barely on the safe side tips over a bit, raining rebar down into Peter, impaling him to death before he then falls to the concrete below, splattering just to make sure he's dead.
Yeah.
And the effect looks kind of janky, but actually is practical, which makes it even, well, parts of it, you know. Like the weird eye effect that looks
the
really
eyeball
cheesy is actually a practical eyeball they put on him. So, like, that's practical, not just CGI. So I don't know what the deal with that was.
Just a poorly practical done effect. Yeah, that looks so
silly,
so wonky.
Yeah, it's kind of silly.
Like, why is his eyeball all the way over here?
Because the rebar.
Oh, okay. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah, see? Well, you should have.
I didn't consider his whole eye socket would move out of the way.
Yeah.
And it would really just go straight through his eyeball.
Then a piece of sheet metal slips off the truck and cuts Sam in half.
In twain.
Yeah.
Well, not twain.
As
really.
we transition into his eye and back to when the bus stopped because, you know, this was all a premonition.
Oh, we were watching Final Destination movies, stupid.
Yeah, idiot. Unless this is your first time, then, you know, fair.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, this is one of the effects. I think most of the bridge effects, except for the eye, work for me. Except for Peter getting cut in half. That is like some
It does look pretty.
horrible
You mean
CGI.
Sam?
Yeah, it looks it looks silly. Overall, pausing because that scene's over, and I think this is actually one of my favorite of the deaths into premonition scenes. I like premonition death scenes. Like it's really fun. There's some creative ways they kill people there. I liked it. I can still see the moments where they're trying to do some 3D stuff, but it's not egregious. It's not fully CGI, and some of it is CGI. It works well. Like a lot of the crumbling is CGI, but I guess in 2011 we're at the point where CGI isn't terrible when you use it. So
yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So yeah,
this is probably like my third favorite premonition scene.
That's fair. Behind obviously the last movies, of course.
Behind 2 and 3, yes.
No, 4s, obviously.
No.
Oh.
No.
No. I think it's probably my second. I think the first pile up is amazing, and I do like the roller coaster, but I think I would put this ever so slightly above the roller coaster personally. But
Okay. Yeah. The pile up is pretty epic.
Yeah.
Some really cool practical explosions.
But then we're not talking about that movie, Chris. We're talking about this movie.
Oh, what a good movie. Can we talk about that movie?
I mean, I think it's a fine movie. I don't know. It's definitely... Well, I don't mind to. It's definitely not my least favorite, but it's also not my favorite.
That might be like my third favorite movie. Despite it being my favorite.
See, the thing is, I actually think that's my fourth favorite, spoiler.
Whoa.
But what are the other orders? We'll never know. Besides, obviously, the Final Destination at number 1. We all know that. Yeah, so moving on. Back to thing. Yeah, it's all a premonition. Nah, crazy. Who would have saw that coming? Sam cuts his thumb and hears dust in the wind, so he freaks out. Due to reasons, all of the other named characters follow Sam off the bus after he freaks out, so they're all saved for now.
Yeah.
Like, he takes Molly, and then... I didn't write it down, but I'll try to break it down. Like, he takes Molly, and then
Pete goes after him.
Yeah, Peter goes after him because Dennis tells him he has to. And then Candace is like, oh, I'll go with Peter. Like, okay, we're kind of understanding it. But then...
And then Dennis is like, well, I guess I gotta go.
Well, no, he doesn't first. Next is Nathan and Olivia are like, oh, I guess we should follow. And Dennis falls almost after them, like, oh, no, stop it. Why are you going? And then, for no reason whatsoever, because, in the other timeline, he stays in the bathroom the whole time this is happening.
Yeah.
Out comes Isaac, because we gotta save him, too.
Yeah, which is probably why Dennis doesn't know, that he survived.
I guess. I don't know. But whatever. We're not at that point yet. That's a funny joke that we're not at yet. You can't ruin the bits, Chris.
Oh, yeah. So.
But yeah, they all live. And I am honestly, in my opinion, probably the... As much as I think the premonition is up there for me, I think this is one of the most contrived saving everyone's.
Yeah.
Like, the only person here who should be saved is Molly. And maybe Peter, because he was sent off to follow her.
Yeah.
Maybe even Candace, because she cared about Peter and was like, oh, well, I'm going to go follow Peter. Maybe. That's it. The other 4, dead.
It would have been a much shorter movie.
Thought this movie was long, but yes.
Yeah. Would have been more like a short film.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what happens. They're all safe for now. Ooh, spooky.
Oh.
I said spooky words because it's a Final Destination movie, which means odds are most of them will die. Or all,
maybe.
Who knows? Occasionally, 1 or 2 people survive. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Also, like, what?
Huh?
Oh, also, like all of the other movies in this franchise, the accident happens a lot quicker than it did in The Premonition. I just wanted to comment on that because it's like, wait, what? Like, there's a long scene of them escaping as it falls down. Now they immediately run off, and then it all just collapses.
Yeah.
And that happens like the roller coaster crashes too quickly. The crashes on the side of the road happen a little too quickly.
Yeah.
So does the car crash. Like, it all happened way too quickly. But,
Reminds me, I was actually watching a YouTuber who reviewed all of the Final Destination
Oh.
movies recently, which was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we're reviewing it at the same time.
Yeah.
Uh, and he also pointed out that in the second movie, during that like post premonition actual car crash,
Mm-hmm.
that like she's pulled off on the side of the road when that other truck come and clears out all of her friends.
Yeah, they were driving
that
recklessly.
that truck veered off the side of the road just to nail them.
Well, I mean, Death decided to, put something under their, wheel.
And decided to make that trucker suddenly narcoleptic, even though
Yeah.
they've never dealt with narcolepsy before.
Or just, the steering wheel got stuck for no reason. It is because of the way this franchise is so loosey goosey with its own rules. I can explain that away immediately. Go, oh, well, just Death decided to make it happen. I mean, oh yeah, that's the beauty of these movies is there are less plot holes than there should be because they could just go, yeah, Death did it. Oh yeah, fair
That's
enough.
actually not a plot hole because it happened.
Yeah, because Death decided it happened. Deal with it. And you're like,
By
oh,
that, I mean us.
yeah.
We are done.
You understand. After they're all safe, Peter asks Sam, "How did you know?" And we cut then to them being interrogated by Agent Block about the bridge collapse, and it's like cut in a way where it's really funny because like his line is like directly after it, yeah, how did you know? It's like it was done it was a good editing little moment. I'm not gonna bring up literally anything else that happens pretty much in this scene because it doesn't matter. But yeah. Agent Block.
There's an interrogation scene and nothing happens,
Yeah.
but Mr. Block does not like Sam.
Yeah. Agent Block is played by Courtney B. Vance of The Hunt for Red October, Space Cowboys, The Mummy 2017, and Isle of Dogs alongside Horror Boy alum Liev Schreiber of Scream 1 through 3. A different agent comes in and tells Block that the forensics came back blaming high winds and structural damage caused by the construction. He then tells Sam he can go home. The federal agent is played by Frank Topol. That's it. That's the end of that scene.
Okay.
Oh, I know it's not. Sorry, I lied.
Oh.
I should read my rest of my notes. On Sam's way out, Agent Block tells him, "I have a feeling we'll see each other again." Call it a hunch, which is which I immediately after not writing down what happened earlier in that scene had to immediately in my notes describe how that line is funny because Sam called his premonition a hunch.
Yeah.
It was a callback to literally earlier in that scene, but I decided to cut out the original part of it, so it meant nothing.
Yeah. It's a callback to a thing that we never mentioned.
Yeah, you understand.
But it does happen.
Yeah. We cut to the funeral for the dead members of Presage Paper. I thought it was Presage, but apparently there's actually a word presage, which means like so it has something to do with death, so that's probably where it comes from.
Interesting.
Yeah. The Lucky Eight minus Dennis meet up before it starts. Molly checks in on how Sam is doing. Isaac asks him how he explained what happened to the feds. Sam answers, "I didn't. I couldn't." Candace says, "Sam, there had to be a reason." Sam chuckles and says, "That's exactly what the agents kept saying." Or the agent, sorry, not agents. Agent kept saying, "Whatever answer you're looking for, I don't have it." Peter asks, "Yeah, Sam's right. It doesn't matter how it happened. We should all just put it behind us and be grateful we're still alive." Nathan says, "Definitely beats the alternative, right?" We then cut to Dennis giving the eulogy. In it, Dennis mentions Isaac's name as one of the deceased, which Isaac gets upset by, and Olivia starts to laugh at him, and Nathan quotes The Sixth Sense with the line, "I see dead people."
Yeah.
Topical reference for this movie in 2011 to mention The Sixth Sense.
Alright. It's kind of a horror classic.
Yeah, well, classic's a little strong word. It is still an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like, it is the best of his, but
Yeah.
it's classic. It's a little strong.
I feel like most people would say it's a classic.
I think classic's too strong. I think it's a good movie. I think classic is too strong.
Everyone knows that movie.
We'll have to take a poll. when we have an audience. I mean, to be fair, we do. I actually, can't joke too much about this podcast not having an audience like I can with our Twitch channel, because we actually do have a decent amount of regular listeners.
I'd be willing to bet that everyone in our audience has seen that movie.
Sure, but I don't think, for one, my dad would call that movie a classic.
Well, maybe he would.
We'll have to ask him, and we'll not remember to ask him, and we'll tell you next week if I do.
Right. Yeah. No.
So yeah, he says that I see dead people line. As everyone leaves the funeral, they pass a familiar face. Not for them, but for us, because it's Bloodworth. Yeah. And Bloodworth tells them, death doesn't like to be cheated. Sam says, excuse me? Peter says, what's that supposed to mean? And Bloodworth responds, you all just be careful now. And he walks away whistling. Bloodworth.
How ominous.
Yeah, Bloodworth is still played by the returning national treasure, Tony Todd.
That's right.
We head to Sam at his other job at the restaurant. A waiter brings back a plate of an Italian food dish that I wrote down, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce because I'm definitely not going to be able to get it right. Because the customer says it tasted flat. The chef comes over and tries it and disagrees, saying it tastes good. The waiter is played by Ryan Hesp. The chef is played by Mike Dopud of The Predator, Violent Night, Alone in the Dark, White Noise, and Rollerball, alongside Horror Bois alum Andrew Bernierski of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And then I'm going to break the rules here and talk about 3 other of the random members of this cast, because this movie has such a weird, eclectic cast of people in it. Next person I'm going to bring up he's in Bernierski's in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. But yeah, so other people in this movie are UFC fighter Oleg Dekartov, the singer Pink, and ECW owner and current manager of the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman.
Huh.
Just a weird group of people in this movie. About, roller derby.
Yeah.
We then follow Sam as he goes to Molly's house. Molly goes to the kitchen because the tea kettle is at a boil. Chris, there was a tea kettle in the first movie! Ah!
Oh. No.
I mean, that's definitely why it's here again, because they show a close shot of it like it's supposed to make you go, oh, remember when Valerie died from a tea kettle in the first movie? Well, the tea kettle was part of what led to her death in the first movie. Yeah. Normally, honestly, I like a lot of little Easter eggs they put to the previous movies. This one feels like really. But it's not like, oh, I'm just looking into too much. It's just a tea kettle. No, they draw attention to the tea kettle. They wanted you to go, remember the tea kettle? And I'm like, really? Okay. I get into the number 180 and a couple of the other ones we haven't got to yet, and those make sense. Those are, important things. Was the tea kettle that important? The answer is yes, obviously, or they wouldn't have done it. The lights flicker in the living room, probably because of, the rain outside, but I guess it could be death. Sam then stares dramatically at a picture of him and Molly. Chris, you're supposed to... Do you not remember the bits we've established in this franchise? When we talk about dramatically, we both freak out. When the 3D things happen, we both freak out.
Oh, yeah.
We have bits, Chris. This is a podcast where we tell jokes sometimes. Gosh.
No. Okay.
No.
Yeah, you understand.
Yeah, that hurt my throat. Molly comes back with tea, and Sam tells her, listen, when everything started going down that bridge, the only thing I thought about was you.
Corny.
Getting you to safety. You're the only thing I care about, Molly. Whatever's wrong, I can fix it. Molly says, you haven't done anything wrong. Sam continues, then what? What is it? Molly answers, Paris. Sam says, We talked about that. French people really aren't that bad. You gotta stop being so xenophobic. Wait, no. Sorry, that line's not... Sorry, no.
Yeah.
Sam said...
Get over them not shaving their armpits pretty fast.
Yeah, Sam actually says... My bad. Oh, sorry. He says, we talked about that. I'm not going to uproot my life, leave you for that job. Molly says, but it's the only thing you ever dreamed of. Life is too short, Sam. You have to go after what you love. And Sam responds, I am.
Ooh.
Yeah. And Molly says, you should take the job. Go to Paris.
Take the kids in the house.
We head to Peter joining Candace at her college gymnastics practice of her college. It's the last practice of her college career. So he's there to support her.
Which begs the question, how old are they working this office job?
I mean, probably, I would guess like mid to late 20s, and, you know, she's probably like she's like 22. So, like, it's a little bit of an inappropriate age gap, but it's more so the power dynamic that makes their relationship inappropriate.
Yeah.
I don't think her age, for me, like, is that, like, I don't have a problem with that. Like, it's like, oh, okay, she's probably younger than him. He's probably at least, like, 27, 28, and she's 22. That's not that crazy.
Yeah.
It's more about the fact that, you know, she's an intern, and he's running, well, not running the department, but he's, like, second in command of that department.
Yeah.
So,
like a lead in the department.
Yeah, definitely above the intern.
What?
But also, to be fair, I guess, once again, we don't know. Maybe they met and he helped her get the internship, so they brought the relationship into the workplace, not the other way around, and it's slightly less inappropriate and more just the company should have let that happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't ever go into it. And they don't really ever draw attention to it as being like a problem either, so I guess, I don't know, whatever. Maybe it's the latter, so it's slightly less inappropriate. She is pacing and messing with her rubber bands because she doesn't feel ready after everything that's happened. And Peter encourages her to go through with the practice because it's so important.
Yeah.
Candace complains to her coach about the AC not working. Her coach is played by Tanya Hubbard. A maintenance guy resets the AC. I don't know who the guy is. There was no maintenance guy written. I looked through IMDb. I like to give everyone credit, even if they, like, you know, Tanya Hubbard didn't do anything else in her career that I felt worthy of bringing up. But I will mention her name because she deserves credit because she's in the movie. I don't know who the maintenance guy is. Sorry. Yeah, he resets the AC. One of Candace's rubber bands breaks before she starts her routine on the balance beam. But she does that for luck. This is an omen of bad luck.
Sure.
Condensation from the pipe on the AC drips down right by the wire of a fan that is frayed. She starts her routine. We see a puddle around the wire. And then a screw from the AC falls on the balance beam. Candace narrowly misses the screw throughout her beam routine as we get many dramatic close-ups of the screw in the puddle.
Yeah.
Which
that happens a lot.
I'm bringing it, but it doesn't feel too egregious to me. You're like, oh, it's about that. It does actually.
It's just that when we're in a podcast, that is really all that happens.
Yeah, it does actually do a good job of building the suspense in the moment. But yeah, it is kind of like, that's just all that happens. They go back and forth to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she doesn't hit any of it. So then she gets up. She's done. So she walks next to the electrified puddle, but ends up dropping a towel on it before it's able to reach her, so she doesn't, die.
Yeah.
She starts her bar routine. We see many shots of a loose bolt on the bars as she goes through her routine. I understand. I'll already spoil it. That literally means literally nothing.
Yep, does not come undone like
that
you
is
think it's going
completely a red herring. Then we see many shots of that. Then a different girl hits the screw while on the beam, falling back into the chalk bowl, knocking it into the fan. The fan blows the chalk into the air, blinding Candace, so she falls off the bar, dying in a brutally awesome kill of her breaking her neck, back, and legs.
Yeah, she somehow swings herself with enough force off of gymnastics bar to break herself in half like a paper bag.
Yeah, sure. Is it unrealistic? I don't care. It's cool. It looked the flipping itself was kind of a little overdone.
Yeah.
But when she hits and you see the cool effects, whether they're digital or physical, I'm not 100% sure. I know the way they did
Pretty sure it was digital.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about, like, the gore effect, if there's any, like, actual gore effect they put on. The way they have her bent is they have her in a, like, she has green suit pants on, and her stunt woman, what's the word? Stunt double, is wearing a green suit top, like, on top of her. And that's how they have it look like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if, like, the little part of her spine that's sticking out, I don't know if that's, like, a gore effect or if that's completely digital. It looks cool no matter what it is.
That's fair.
It's a fun little kill. I enjoyed it. We cut to Sam showing up at the gym to check on Peter. Sam says, I came as soon as I heard. Peter says, she was doing great. She was almost finished with her routine, and then... Why did it happen? This doesn't make any sense. Sam replies, I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Peter. Sam looks over and sees Bloodworth there. But then Peter said they need to leave, and he looks back and Bloodworth's gone. And then so Peter and Sam leave.
Yeah.
We head to the Presage Paper office, where Sam checks in on Molly. I'm gonna say, if it comes up again, I'm gonna say Presage because I think it sounds better, and I heard that once in the movie, but I don't know. I think it sounds better. I don't like, even if Presage is a real word, Presage just sounds more like a paper company name than Presage.
I would. Is it 2 S's?
It's 1 S.
It's one. Okay, I was gonna say it could be Presage.
No, it's 1 S.
I think it's probably Presage then.
Okay, we'll go Presage. Yeah, so at Presage Paper office, Sam checks in on Molly, who says, it's weird being here. I mean, it's just so quiet. Sam says, yeah, well, Dennis had all the calls rerouted to corporate. Molly says, yeah, well, it's depressing. In walk Olivia, who says, holy crap. Which she actually says holy crap, because if she said holy other word, I would have said holy poop. She actually says holy crap.
Holy crap, Peter.
Did you guys get your bereavement pay yet? And then she notices Peter's there and says, hey, what's he doing here? She asks about what? She asks about okay, that was me. I didn't plan on stopping in the middle to say she was talking about Peter. So that was at the end of that line. I was like saying like, she says this, asking about Peter, but I didn't read my notes directly. I was like kind of just going off the cuff, and it ended up confusing me. I should never do that. I always just need to read exactly what's on the notes. If not, I will mess up everything. I'm sorry, everyone.
No improvisation.
I'm just gonna, podcast is over. Series is, we're never coming back. But tune in to Downtown Kentucky on Twitch for DKPW Season 2. What does that mean? Yeah, you don't need to know. Don't worry about it. Sam says, I think he just needed the distraction. Olivia says, yeah, that's a bummer about Candace. Guess we all should have seen that coming. What? You see the crazy poop those gymnasts do. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often.
Yeah, Olivia is very sensitive and in tune with other people's emotions. Very empathetic.
Yeah, you understand. We cut into Dennis's office where he's dealing with the fallout caused by, a mass death of your staff.
Yeah.
Isaac steals money from Debbie's desk, who's one of the people who passed away, apparently. And then after pricking his finger on a pushpin, steals a gift certificate for a massage parlor from Robert's desk. Because he's not a cool dude. He's kind of a jerk. Not only is he a creep, he's also, stealing from the dead.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they weren't going to use it.
Scum is probably an appropriate word.
Yeah, that's fair.
No regard for people at all.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, though, who was going to use this massage coupon, gift certificate if he didn't? It would have just went to waste. Remember that massage gift certificate. I'll bring it up later, but I don't want to bring it up now, but I'll bring it up again much later.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Not that much later, to be honest.
No, I will. You don't understand. You're not figuring out what I'm... I'll bring it up later. Don't worry. You'll understand when I bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Nathan comes upstairs with beers he stole from Roy's truck to share with Peter, Sam, Olivia, and Molly. And it's the same brand of beer that's been in the last 3 movies. No, it wasn't in the first movie.
Yeah.
It's this. Oh, I already read that. Once again, I keep doing that thing where I like forget things that are in my notes and try to be like just say it, and then like, oh yeah, look at that, it's the same as the previous movie. Okay. Peter then comes over, offering to share some of his liquor. Molly asks, "Are you sure you want to share that?" And Peter replies, "If I don't, I'll end up drinking it alone," which is just sad. Yeah, Chris. It's just sad when you have a bottle of liquor and don't offer it to your friends.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Me neither.
No one would ever do that.
Yeah, that'd be really sad.
That would be sad and weird.
If you can't tell, Chris once did that.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, it did happen. Oh, man.
We cut to Isaac at the spa where he's being a creep and a racist now to add on top of it. To the receptionist, who is played by Chastity Ballesteros of The Ranch, Malibu Horror Story, The Mummy 2017, and The Funhouse Massacre alongside Horror Boy alum Robert Englund, who's, Freddy Krueger and was also in Wishmaster and Hatchet. In the back room, Isaac makes a joke about the Buddha statue being fat. Yeah. The receptionist leaves him in the room after lighting some incense. Sorry, did you have something to say?
Isaac really is just stacking the cards against him as the scum of the earth.
Yeah. It's a good, and spoiler, for literally like 2 scenes from now at most. It's a good thing this is a Final Destination movie, so this horrible, awful monster is going to get what he deserves.
It's true.
But yeah, so he thinks she's going to give him a massage. Also, we skipped over it when just him being creepy, but he also was hoping that the massage would, end with some music playing.
Yeah.
Of the harmonica variety. But, once she leaves the room, in comes Cho, who gives him a massage. But Cho isn't a young, hot girl. Cho is played by an older woman named Jasmine Dring.
Yeah.
She only speaks to him in Chinese. We do find out later, in a kind of a funny moment, that she does speak English.
She speaks English,
but just doesn't, or at least understand. I guess she does, because she does speak it as well. But she just doesn't want to talk to him.
She perfectly speaks English.
Yeah, you're right. She starts giving him a chiropractic adjustment. What you do at a massage parlor.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the times she pushes him back on the table, we see it's loosened one of the legs on the table. We get back to the office where the gang is cheersing before taking a shot. Woo!
Yeah, getting drunk at work. Who cares? Everyone's dead.
Olivia's phone rings and she gets up to leave because it's her ride, knocking over and breaking the frame of a photo of her at the Devil's Flight roller coaster. And it kind of breaks on her face. I don't know, maybe like at the top of her face, maybe? Curious. Also, Devil's Flight. Remember that was 2 movies ago. Callbacks. But actually, I like this one. I'm making fun of it here for the sake of, comedy on the podcast, but the only one that really made me mad was the stupid tea kettle. I had no problem. I actually oh, cool, Devil's Flight. They're showing this the same world. Cool. I was fine with it. Sam then asks what they should do for their final toast to. Nathan says to finding new jobs because it's only a matter of time before they shut us down. Molly adds to starting over. Peter says it just doesn't make sense. She dies doing something that she's done almost every day for the last 15 years of her life. She said she didn't want to do it. She said she wasn't ready. And I should have stopped her. I should have done something. I should have... Molly interrupts. Peter, there wasn't anything you could have done. Peter says, how do you know? And he throws his glass at the wall in anger. He then says, I'm sorry, and he leaves. We cut into Dennis's office where he calls Agent Block and tells him about Peter just freaking out.
Yeah.
It's a kind of funny scene, but none of the dialogue was funny enough that I wrote it down. But, what a surprise. The guy who's a comedy actor does a decent job with the comedy they give him.
Yeah. Maybe maybe Peter's the one who caused the bridge
Yeah,
collapse
Peter's kind
because
of being angry.
he's becoming unhinged.
Yeah. Block thanks him and tells him if he sees anything stranger to call him. And then we stay with Block because it's one of those moments where, like, on the phone call, we cut to Block. And Block, the crime scene tech tells Block he can't show him what happened because it was such a freak accident it could not be recreated. The tech is played by Blaine Anderson of Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh,
Excuse me. Alongside Horror Boy alums Crispin Glover of Friday the 13th 4 and Final Destination alum Crystal Lowe of Final Destination 3. Back to Isaac, who gets acupuncture needles inserted after he gets her to disinfect the needles with rubbing alcohol. That's actually where we find out that, she can at least understand English. I don't think she speaks it yet for a little bit, but that's where we know, like, oh, she understands English, because he said he didn't want to get diseases, and she went to go get the stuff to clean the needles. Which does kind of put in question the, hygiene of this place, that they only cleaned it once he asked her to.
yeah, that wasn't just a go-to thing as soon as they brought out the needles.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's fair. I guess I'll clean the needles.
Oh, you don't want diseases? Okay.
Oh, okay. Isaac is then racist, and then his phone rings, so Cho moves it to a shelf next to a candle away from him.
Yeah.
Cho leaves him in the room to sleep with the needles in for 30 minutes. Death's wind blows a piece of the incense off. It lands on the rag soaked in alcohol, starting a fire. Isaac notices it and calls for help, but no one hears him because the walls are sturdy. That was also a thing that was mentioned earlier. There's actually, again, they really kind of set up a lot of this in a way that works really well. Lost my place. No one hears him. The table breaks, and he rolls to the floor, pushing the needles in really deep and gets knocked unconscious. The table also knocks over the bottle of rubbing alcohol, so it pours onto the floor, soaking him. He comes to in excruciating pain, because, these needles that are pretty long got pushed all the way into him. We get this close-up shot.
And those were all probably in his pressure points, too.
And we get a close-up shot of him pulling out one of the needles. It's really kind of creepy and gross and, like, done practically, and it's really cool. Well, no, they didn't actually stick it in him, but they stuck it in a prosthetic and pulled it out. It's cool. It's a cool little moment. He's about to walk out the door when his phone rings, knocking the candle into the puddle of alcohol, setting the room on fire. Isaac jumps back away from the fire, hitting the wall and falling down to the ground. But the fire doesn't reach him. Oh.
Yippee, he lived.
So he sighs in relief. Oh, but that's okay, because then the Buddha statue falls on his head, crushing it in a fun, gory kill.
Yeah.
It's a really fun little head explosion.
Actually, yippee.
Yeah, he did die. In a movie.
In Minecraft.
No, it's not Minecraft.
No, yeah, he did die.
We cut back to the office where Sam tells Molly, "You should come with me." Molly asks, "To Paris?" Sam says, "Yeah. You said it yourself. Like, you're going to have to start over. Start over with me." She asks, "How many drinks have you had?" He replies, "Enough." "Molly, I'm serious. Look, you were right. If I don't take the job, I'll regret it. But I'm not willing to lose you. Why does it have to be one or the other? I'm better when you're with me." But before she can respond at all, Peter walks up and says, "Guys, you're not going to believe this." And we cut to Sam and Molly outside the spa watching Isaac's body being carted off. Sam sees Bloodworth there. Sorry?
I said, in a ambulance.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, no.
Well, yeah.
It's into a coroner's van.
Yeah.
Because he's dead. Because his head was exploded.
Yeah.
There's no need to take him to the hospital.
And who does that coroner's van belong to?
Well, it belongs to Bloodworth, who Sam sees. Nathan and Peter then come over and talk about how his death was ruled a freak accident like Candace's was. Sam goes over to talk to Bloodworth to try and get answers. The other three follow him. Sam says, "Why are you following us? Who are you? You were at the cemetery, then the gym, now here. What are you doing?" Blood responds, "My job." And turns away, revealing his jacket that says, "A coroner." Oh, which, I guess isn't actually a reveal because we knew that.
Yeah, because, we've seen the previous 4 movies.
Well, to be fair, he hasn't been seen.
Which he's only been in 2.
Yeah, he has not been seen since 2, to be fair. But he was seen... I guess to be fair, they looked more like he was a mortician in that movie than a coroner, but, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Sam asks, what's happening to us? Bloodworth responds, what makes you think I know anything? Sam says, you warned us at the memorial service. You said death didn't like to be cheated. Bloodworth says, it's just that I've seen this before. Nathan asks, seen what? Bloodworth responds, a lucky few survive a disaster, and then one by one, death comes for them all. You changed things on that bridge. There's a wrinkle in reality, and that wrinkle is you. Nathan asks, so what? We're doomed to die? I mean, is that it? We just got our lives back, so what kind of messed up karma is that? Sam asks, are you saying that we can't stop this? Bloodworth says, you were supposed to die on that bridge. You're not supposed to be here. You shorted death. So you let death have somebody else in your place, and then you take their spot in the realm of the living. All the days and years that they have yet to live, and then they take your place in death. Then the books are balanced. Peter asks, wait a minute. We kill someone, we get their life? Is that what you're telling me? Bloodworth responds, I don't make the rules. I just clean up after the game is over. And then Bloodworth drives away in a Corners van. And we don't get to see Tony Todd anymore in this movie. It's a shame, because he's the best part of most movies he's in. Not that I dislike the rest of this movie, but man, does Tony Todd just kill every scene he's ever been in.
And lo and behold, we got another new Final Destination rule.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of have to do that, so it's different every time.
Kill somebody else to save your life.
Yeah, sure. Peter says, maybe that's why Candace and Isaac are dead. They weren't supposed to survive. And now it's coming after the rest of us. Sam says, no. No, he just says, no, not all of us. Molly made it. She didn't die. Molly asks, what? Sam answers, well, when I had that vision or premonition or whatever it was, I got you across before the bridge collapsed. You survived. I like also that he talks about the vision or premonition, because I'm going to call it a premonition later in the movie because that's what everyone knows it as, but
yeah,
it does feel like I'm kind of forcing it into this line to explain that oh yeah, premonitions, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got you across before the bridge collapsed. You survived. Peter says, you saved her? Why? Because you decided that she deserved to live more than the rest of us? Molly says, no. Sorry.
Cucumber.
No, she says, no, that's not what he's saying. I don't deserve to live more than anyone else. Peter says, well, apparently you deserve to live more than Candace. Sam says, hey, whoa, Peter, hang on. Nathan interrupts. No. Sorry, I gotta stop it. No, look, guys, come on. You're not drinking the Kool-Aid, are you? Killing people to survive death's list? Really? I may not know what's going on, but it's not what that guy is selling. Peter says, yeah? What else is it then? And walks away. The other three head away. They say to go tell Olivia, but spoiler, as we see later, it's they do go separate ways once they go in the same direction, because we do not see Nathan with them the next time we see anyone. But yeah.
Nope.
We cut to the Eastfield Laser Eye Center, where Olivia is talking to Dr. Leonetti about wanting to go through with getting laser eye surgery. Dr. Leonetti is played by Barclay Hope of Smallville. The Shape Nick Castle directed 'Twas the Night. And Riverdale alongside Horror Bois alums Martin Cummins of Jason Takes Manhattan, Marisol Nichols of Scream 2, Lachlan Murrow of Freddy vs. Jason, Skeet Ulrich of Scream 1 and 5, and Final Destination alum Kerr Smith of Final Destination 1. On her way back to the back, Olivia drops off her glasses in the eyeglass donation container and sets a cup of water on the water cooler. Or bubbler if you're from the Northeast, I believe.
Yeah.
And it has, like, it's one of those ones where it has like 50 different names depending on where you're from.
Sounds like a silly name of a thing in SpongeBob.
The water bubbler? That's fair.
Anyway.
But to be fair to them, though, it does differentiate between like the different types of things. So, like earlier, we talked about a water cooler falling into the water, and like, what's what it was, but like it's not at all the same thing as this. This is like the one with the 5-gallon water bottles. That was like the one that's normally like Home Depot branded, and you get when you're at like a soccer game.
Yeah, that's true.
So to be fair, I guess whoever, I think it's like New England area, calls it the water bubbler. It does one, it does bubble, and two, it does differentiate between the other type of water cooler. So maybe this one time, the New England did something right.
Yeah, maybe just this once.
Hopefully, we don't have any fans in New England that I offended.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, we might. Our audience is grown, man.
Wild.
We have like an international audience, which is genuinely baffling to me. Shout out to our fans in England. There's like you're 8% of our audience somehow.
All our homies across the world.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. Back to this movie. Dr. Leonetti can see she's nervous, so he gives her one of the teddy bears to hug during the procedure. It's like typically something they give to kids, but
very tightly.
Yeah. He clamps her head in so she can move her head. She can't move her head. Puts numbing eye drops in her eye and inserts a speculum in her eye to keep it open. We get some extreme. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, and I was gonna talk about how this is probably just the speculum itself made me uncomfortable to watch.
Fair. I understand that. That's supposed to.
Stuff in the eye. Yeah. Ew, ow, ooh, get it out.
Yeah. We then get some extreme close-ups of her eye. She squeezes the teddy bear too hard and pops one of his eyes off, with it falling to the floor. Dr. Leonetti turns on the machine and realizes he doesn't have the right paperwork for her in her file, so he steps out to go get it. The water cooler bubbles, knocking the cup off, causing it to hit the plug, which shorts out the outlet, causing the outlet the machine is on to surge, causing the laser's megawatts to increase past the limit of 5 to over 10, causing the laser coolant to malfunction. Olivia tries to reach for the remote to hit the emergency shutoff button, but she instead knocks the remote to the floor, turning the laser on. It starts burning through her eye in a close-up.
Yeah.
She tries to struggle her way out. She rips the speculum out of her eye in a brutal, also, like you can see, like it get bloody as she rips it out. Like she rips it out.
Yeah.
She then puts her hand up to block the laser from going to her other eye, which ends up burning her hand. We then cut to Sam and Molly showing up at the office asking about Olivia. Dr. Leonetti says she's fine, but they all hear Olivia screaming and rush to her.
Yeah, she's not fun.
Yeah, no. Olivia is able to get herself free, but her heel hits the bare eye, and she trips into the window, defenestrating herself.
Yippee, self-defenestration.
Yeah. We then see her eyeball roll on the ground toward the camera. Whoa! Before he gets run over by a car in a fun little, gross moment. Ew.
Like pops.
Yeah, it's like, oh. It pops like a grape, and it's like, oh, gross. I liked it. It was fun. It was a fun gross.
Great.
We cut back upstairs a little later where Molly asks Sam to stay with her that night. In walks Agent Block, who says 5 different systems had to go wrong for that laser to fail us so spectacularly. 5. Molly asks, what do you want from us? Block replies, I want you to tell me what you think is going on. 2 deaths? Okay, alright. That's a coincidence. 3? That's a pattern. Now I know you 2 didn't do it, alright? But I think you know something. What is it? Sam says, we don't know anything. Block responds, take a guess. Sam says, we think we weren't supposed to survive on that bridge, and now something is trying to set it right. Block says, something? That's all you got? Sam responds, right now, yeah. But if you can come up with any other explanations, let us know. Block thanks them, and they leave. The next morning, Sam tells Molly he couldn't sleep because he was thinking about what happened on the bridge. She tells him he can't do this to himself. And Sam replies, no, 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 no. He actually does say no 4 times.
Yeah.
I was thinking about in the premonition. We all got off the bus, but the ground gave way and Candace fell. Then the bus tipped over, and Isaac, he never got off the bus. He went with it. Molly asks, what are you getting at? Sam says, I know that there was just so much going on. Look, I know that I helped you across. Then I reached back for Olivia, but she didn't make it. She fell. Molly says, so first was Candace, then Isaac, Sam says, and then Olivia. They're dying in order. Good for you guys. You figured out what the rest of us knew.
Oh, they're piecing it together.
Molly asks, who dies after Olivia? And we cut to Nathan at the factory, where he sees Roy wrote an obscenity towards him on his time card. Nathan goes over to the intercom and calls Roy upstairs. Roy angrily sets down his wrench and heads to Nathan. Nathan sees where they store the paper under him, which is basically just like spikes sticking up. He also sees a 2.5-ton crane that's got some like sparks flying off of it. I don't know if it's crane is the right word, but I don't know what to call it. We'll go with crane, but Roy comes up and Nathan tells him they need to talk about his time card, and Roy responds, yeah, let's talk about my time card. You cut my hours, which means you cut my pay. Nathan says, I cut everyone's hours, okay? Corporate has us operating at less than 50% until this thing blows over. Roy complains that his life isn't asking for 50%. And Nathan tries to warn him that the crane is moving towards them, but Roy won't listen. So Nathan tries to shove him out of the way, but he struggles, and Nathan ends up shoving him into the piece of ground that the hook from the crane takes out. Roy ends up getting killed by the hook, going, it looks like just through his chin, before then it ends up coming out all the way through the top of his head. Yeah, it's fun. We cut to Dennis's office, where Peter comes in to talk to him. Dennis tells Peter that corporate is shutting down the sales and administration department of the plant. Peter tells him, yeah, Dennis, we got bigger problems. Olivia and Isaac are dead. Dennis asks, who's Isaac? Peter says, Isaac Palmer, tech support. Dennis asks, wasn't he dead already? Peter responds, no, Dennis. Listen, it's going to happen to us too if we don't do something about it. Dennis says, yeah, I understand. Listen, it's called survivor's guilt. Peter says, no. No,
you can't keep getting away with this.
He says, no. Guilt doesn't kill you. Dennis retorts, honestly, you've never met my in-laws. Peter says, I'm not obscenitying around here. Dennis, anyone could be next. It could be you. Understand? Nobody's safe. Dennis asks, what are you talking about? Peter explains, we weren't supposed to survive that bridge collapse, and now it's kill or be killed. You get that, Dennis? Whatever. I warned you. Do whatever you want to do. Peter leaves, and then Dennis calls Agent Block and tells him that Peter's lost it. Peter heads to the factory and asks Nathan what happened with Roy. Sam and Molly also show up. Peter asks Nathan, did you kill him? Roy says, what? No. Oh, no, it was just timing, you know? He got in the way and Peter says, no, you did. Didn't you? You saw it coming, and then you took his life. You put him in the way. Nathan says, no, I didn't really do anything. Peter says, tell us the truth. Did you or didn't you? Sam cuts in and says, hey, Peter, calm down. But Peter continues, did you or didn't you? And then I think he repeats, did you or didn't you again. And Nathan says, yes, I think I did. I killed him. I don't think this confession will hold up in a court of law due to it was under distress of a crazy man yelling at him.
True.
Peter says, if the theory works, then you traded spots. He should have your death, and you should have his years. Nathan asks, how do we know for sure? Sam says, I think there's an order to these deaths. They mirror the order that everyone died in on the bridge. Molly asks, then who would be next? And Dennis walks in and says, who wants to be the first to tell me what the hell just happened? Peter says, Who is it, Sam? Dennis asks, who's what? Right then, Roy's wrench falls into the belt of a machine and it's sent flying into Dennis's head, killing him. And when at first you're like, oh, okay. And then you see the gore effect afterwards. You're like, oh, okay, that's a cool kill.
Yeah. Just a wrench embedded in his eyes.
It's awesome. At first you're like, oh, okay. Because the wrench was definitely CGI when it was flying in his face. And you're like, oh, that's it? All right, okay, movie. And then they show you a gore effect and you're like, all right, movie.
Okay.
Sam yells, Dennis! It was Dennis! And Nathan responds, no poop! Then we get a shot of the cool makeup effect on the ground. We cut to later where Molly is complaining that Sam is planning to go to work. Sam says, Molly, Isaac died on a massage table. If death is going to come for me, I don't think it matters where I am. Which, honestly fair.
Yeah, valid.
Molly says, you have to do something. Sam replies, what? Kill someone so I can live? Molly responds, no. Of course not. We'll just have to figure something else out. Sam says, I have figured it out. Something saved me on that bridge. Maybe he doesn't want me to die. Molly responds, maybe. Sam continues, we can't live our lives in fear, Moll. So if it happens tomorrow, or 50 years from now, whatever, as long as we're together, I'll be okay. Right?
Corny.
Yeah. They are kind of cheesy, but in kind of an adoring way.
Yeah. And, yeah, it is endearing.
Yeah, that's not adoring. Endearing is what I meant to say. Thank you for knowing what word I meant to say.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. Why don't you come by after my shift, and I'll make you a nice late dinner, okay? She nods. They kiss, and then he heads to work. He arrives at Le Café Miro 81. He notices all the dangers in the commercial kitchen. There's a couple shots of them, like multiple of them. And that's it. That's the scene. Nothing happens, obviously, because it's never going to be the obvious things, guys. We cut to the end of his shift, and Sam tells Chef he wants to take the apprenticeship in Paris. And Chef says it's his. We get a quick shot outside establishing that Agent Block is sitting in his car outside the restaurant. Sam asks Molly how her French is. She responds saying that it's terrible. And Sam says, oh, good. Well, then we could be terrible together. And she asks, well, why? He says, I took the internship, Molly. Internship. Molly says, what? Sam, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you. Peter knocks on the door, and Sam goes to open it, and we see just the end of the restaurant's name on the door. 081. That's like 180, but backwards. Sam asks, you okay, man? You look a little upset. Peter says, yeah. Just a rough couple of days. Sam says, yeah, for everyone. Peter says, for some more than others. Do you mind if I come in? Sam welcomes him in. And that was a mistake because Peter was a vampire, and Peter does then immediately suck his blood.
Yeah, this is actually Vampire's Kiss pre-log.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, actually none of that happens. Sorry. Peter just comes in. He sits down and chugs a glass of wine. Death's wind blows the candles not out, but just like hits them. It's like, oh, I'm here.
A little flicker.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm here. Sam asks Peter if he wants anything to eat. Peter says he's good, and then says, "I'm sorry. I just thought." Molly says, "Peter, it's good that you're here. You shouldn't be alone right now." Peter says, "Yeah, I'm surprised I'm here at all. Still alive. I mean, I'm next to go, right? It's me and then you, isn't it?" Anyways, I was up all last night, thinking about it. Thinking about if I could really do it. Molly says, "Do what?" Peter says, "Take someone else's life. If I could actually kill some stranger, replace their life with my own." And I thought about it, and I convinced myself that, yeah, I could. We see a flashback while he continues. So yeah. I went on a walk, no one in particular, but every couple of minutes an opportunity would just present itself. He chuckled and continues. Like clockwork, I could just grab someone and pull them into an alley, or just shove somebody off a curb into traffic. It'd be really easy. Sam asks, Peter, what did you do? Did you... Peter says, no, I didn't. I couldn't. I realized that I couldn't kill someone that didn't deserve to die. And I thought about Candace. And I thought, wait a minute. Candace didn't deserve to die. Olivia didn't. Dennis didn't. I don't. Do I? I think it's fair that he doesn't bring up Isaac, because Isaac did deserve to die.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
No. Molly says, no, of course you don't. Peter says, well, none of us deserve to die. Then why is it that you deserve to live, Molly? You said it yourself. You don't. And he pulls out a gun on her. Sam hits the table up so Peter's shot goes into the air and doesn't kill Molly. Peter and Molly run away to the kitchen. Outside, Block calls for backup because he heard the gunshots. He then pulls out his gun and heads inside. Sam tells Molly to hide, and he'll distract Peter, and arms himself with a knife. Peter comes in and asks where Molly is. Sam immediately puts down the knife and says, I'm not going to let you hurt her, Peter. You're going to have to kill me first. And Peter says, well, that doesn't do me any good. That's after you too, Sam says. This is crazy, Peter. Don't do this. Just think for a minute. All right? You are not a killer. Peter says, I don't want to kill anybody, Sam. He then shoots at a pressurized tank and continues, I don't want to die yet either. Then he pistol whips Sam to the ground. The knife he set down spins before falling right next to Sam, missing him. Peter laughs and says, it's not your time yet, and continues to look for Molly. Peter turns on all the stoves and fryers while he taunts Molly. Molly arms herself with a steak knife as we see a gun round the corner. But it's not Peter. It's Agent Block, who immediately gets shot to death by Peter.
Yeah.
The lights flicker, signifying the passing of life to him, I guess.
Guess so.
Yeah. He tries to shoot her because she was a witness to him killing a federal agent, but she runs away. Sam hits Peter with a frying pan, making him drop his gun on the lit stove. Sam tells Molly to go get help as him and Peter fight. Peter gets the advantage and tries to push Sam's head into the deep fryer, but Sam fights his way out. Sadly, we don't get a cool, fryer
deep fryer death.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Not that we don't want Sam to die. He's the good guy, but you could it'd still be a cool death.
Yeah.
We see shots of the gun on the fire as it heats up. Peter regains the advantage and grabs a knife, and Molly jumps on his back. He throws her to the ground and comes after her with a knife. Before he gets to her, he's stabbed by Sam with a rotisserie skewer.
Yeah.
Sam and Molly embrace and head to leave when the lights flicker again, and Molly says, it's gone. You killed him. Sam says, so does that mean I get Block's life? At this point, the fire causes the gun to shoot off, narrowly missing Peter, who says, yeah, I guess I do.
Yeah.
We cut to 2 weeks later. Yeah, they did it. And then of the movie, right? Oh, wait, no, sorry. We cut to 2 weeks later, when Sam and Molly are boarding their plane to Paris. Sam sees Alex and Carter fighting and being taken off the plane, revealing that this movie has been a prequel, and Sam and Molly are now on Flight 180.
Yep.
Wish I didn't know that, because, man, was it actually done really well. I did know that going into this movie, but it was done really well, and I respect it for that. Also,
yeah, there's a lot of hints.
There's some hints throughout, yeah. Like one for sure is that like I mentioned earlier, I told you I'd bring it back up, is the why am I blanking on what it was? The expiration date.
Parlor.
Yeah, the expiration date on the massage parlor coupon was in 2001.
No. There's also the championships for the gymnastics thing.
Yes. As well as something else that you could, is that I guess to fair, that could have been, reestablished after the incident, but the restaurant he works at is the same name as the restaurant in Paris where the sign kills Carter. So that was presumably the restaurant he was about to go to work at.
Dang.
But yeah, so the plane takes off, and Sam turns on the in-flight radio and hears Dust in the Wind by Kansas. He gets spooked, and he cuts his thumb. As a woman asks the flight attendant why those kids got removed off the plane, the flight attendant says, "Oh, well, have you seen Final Destination? This is a prequel."
Nah.
Oh, sorry, no, she doesn't say that. She
She
says a kid had a panic attack and wanted off the plane. Said he had some kind of vision. Sam says, "No." And the engine catches fire and the plane crash starts. Molly falls out a hole in the plane, and Sam gets burnt alive by the explosion like Alex did in his premonition in the first movie.
Whoa, she gets ripped out of the hole in the plane and gets cut in half
That's
by
true.
the plane wing.
That's true. I forgot about that. Sorry. We see that one piece of the debris flies off. I wonder if that could be important. Probably not. Here's just a nice little ending scene that's unrelated, pretty much.
Oh wait, there's another scene.
Yeah, it's all good. We cut to Nathan, who's at a memorial at a bar for Roy. Dust in the Wind is playing. I'm sure it means nothing, though.
Probably not.
John, who was in like 2 scenes earlier, he's back. He thanks him for coming, even with how hard Roy was to work with. John says, "I guess it was for the best." And Nathan asks, "What do you mean?" And John says, "The company did an autopsy for insurance purposes. Turns out Roy had an enlarged blood vessel in his brain so big it was about to burst. They said he'd be dead any day now." Nathan, in shock, says, "Any day?" As the plane debris crashes through the roof, killing him, we then get a fun death montage of the franchise and our closing credits. Yeah, that's the movie.
A death montage in a weird, like, reflective, empty space. It feels like a Christian music video.
Fair.
From, like, 2002. Yeah. Very weird choice for the background, but
yeah. That is the Final Destination franchise as of now.
Right.
I don't know if there's anything else I said I would bring up again. I don't think there was. I think it was just that. If I did, I'm sorry. I forgot it, guys. But yeah, my thoughts on this movie is I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It, definitely falls into the camp of the movies that I enjoy and think are fun than the, movie and the camp where I think it's just enjoyable enough that I don't hate my experience watching it. Yeah, so I put this at my number 3, under 1, 3, and that's it. I put 4 slightly after this, or sorry, 5, 2 slightly after this one, then 5, way far away from them.
Yeah.
But overall, overall, I enjoyed this movie. I think it was a kind of a return to form, especially from that last movie. The CGI is far less egregious. There's less of the 3D effects, even though it was a 3D movie. Like, the writing was better. This is some of the best, character development we've had for, literally any characters in this whole franchise. It's it's a fun movie. I enjoy it. Most of the acting is pretty decent. There are a few characters here or there where it's okay, this is a one-night character. Like, Olivia is kind of okay, you didn't really try there.
She's the character with glasses.
Yeah. And boobs. As well as, Isaac is a little bit of okay, all right. He's the over-top perv loser guy. But, overall, I still enjoy this movie because I enjoy tropey characters as well. So, I thought this movie was fun. Overall, franchise thoughts, because this is the last movie in the franchise. It's a good franchise. It's not perfect by any means.
No.
Technically, most of these movies probably aren't technically good movies, but I enjoyed my time watching most of them. And definitely could see myself rewatching, honestly, any of them. Yes, 4 would be at the end of my list of rewatching it. Not if I was watching in order, but you get my point. If I was just be hey, I want to watch a Final Destination movie, 4 would not be one I would ever suggest. But if someone said, hey, I want to watch Final Destination 4, I'd be all right, yeah, fine, I'll probably enjoy it, and I'll enjoy it enough. It's a fun franchise. So yeah, that's my thoughts. It's fun.
Cool.
What's your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah. I'd say I enjoyed this movie overall. I'd say for me, it probably lands for me right at about dead center in terms of the franchise overall. I'd probably put 3 as my number 1. 1 is, I think 1 shakes it out as 2. And then 5 shakes it out straight in the middle. 2 at my 4th, and then 4th at That last.
That's right, guys. The only thing we swapped are what our favorite movie is of our two top ones for both of us.
Yeah. Two's not bad, but Destroy's
it's
a little bit
bad. It's just not as weirdly quirky fun as 1 and 3 were.
Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this franchise probably more than I should have. Yeah, I wouldn't say they're good movies at all, but I would say they are probably like the perfect movie to put on if you and a bunch of your friends got together who also like kind of enjoy horror.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of just schlocky fun that no one really has to think about. You could definitely get together and just laugh and have a good time.
Yeah.
Go, look at these silly kills. Isn't this a silly thing that's happening? What a good time.
Yeah.
It is a good time, despite, all of the death happening nonstop.
Yeah.
Because it is just so over the top.
Yeah.
And we love it for it.
We do. So that's the Final Destination franchise. But we're not done with the unofficial theme of this year so far.
Devon Sawa.
Which is Devon Sawa. Yes. Next week we will be finishing that unofficial theme as we watch the first horror property he was involved in, edging out the first Final Destination by 1 year. Next week we'll be watching the horror comedy Idle Hands, which I'm really looking forward to watching. I've only watched like the first half of the movie, and I was able to finish it that day, but I really was enjoying it that day. So I've referenced it a few times because there's like one clip I'd seen for years that I really enjoyed from it. But yeah, so tune in next week for that. That'll be fun, right? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
If you like this podcast, 5-star review on all the podcast apps that you use it on. Tell a friend about it. That could also help grow the podcast. I know, crazy.
That would be cool.
Tell your friends in Europe about it because we got a burgeoning audience there.
Yeah. I don't know why, but thank you guys.
Tell your female friends about it because we only have 5% female listeners right now, and I want to bump that up to at least 10%.
Yeah. Double the female audience. Yeah, feminism.
Yeah, feminism. I support women. Yeah. But yeah. That's it. YouTube.com/@horrorbois. Video version of the podcast. Patreon.com/horrorbois if you want to get this podcast a little early every week, as well as potentially more content if you ever were to pay us enough money to make it happen.
Yeah.
Which isn't even that much money. It's just labor. Yeah. I don't know how we'll figure out how to do it, but we'll make it work, I guess.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah, we'll figure that gosh darn thing out. But yeah, I've been Austin, joined by Chris. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.